Hey, welcome to the coaches meeting. That's the coach. Bang, bang, 49. I'm Grant Cohn. Make sure you're subscribed to the coach. Make sure you're subscribed to me. And real quick, before we get started, I'm giving away a signed Brandon Ayuk jersey. To get it, all you have to do is download the Sleeper app and make some picks. And that's all you got to do. Use promo code Cohn, and you're instantly entered to win the jersey. It's so nice. And Brandon Ayuk signed it himself. Anyway, I just want to say that. What we're talking about today is how the Niners are going to make big changes to their roster and their staff. Obviously, free agency is coming up, and they don't have any cap space, so they got to figure that out. We're going to talk about that first. Also, I don't think people realize, but there are gaping holes on the 49ers offensive coaching staff that they will address soon, I would imagine, before the season starts, for sure. Talk about that as well. And Sam Darnold, everyone's favorite topic. Talk about Sam Darnold for about a half an hour. Good long Sam Darnold topic. Anyway, forget that. Sam. The Niners need to create cap space. They could cut people, but this is a family, coach. It's not just a team. Right. So they want to keep this group together, and to do so, they can restructure contracts to really just lock them in for longer and make them more palatable to the cap now. Who do you think is the Niners are most likely to restructure in the next few days? Remember,
I think
period is like Monday. Sorry.
Right. I think the candidates for being restructured would be Travarius Ward or probably Fred Warner. Right now, Travarius Ward is due $18 million next year, and Fred Warner is due $24.4 million. Right there, that makes up for about 14% of the cap alone. So they're candidates for it also because of Travarius Ward. It seems as though that they need to add more at the position. So you might want to get him to kind of supplant some of his salary in the upcoming years. And he's not that old. You know, these are guys that are relatively on the back or probably like smack dab, I would say, in the middle of their primes. They're probably past the front end. And being able to restructure and probably get a lump sum and get paid some good money up front to take a little bit of a move. I think they would be glad to do it. Right now, we've looked at it over the 10 players in the salary cap right now make up 10 players in the salary cap for the 49ers make up over 72% of the cap. So they've really got to knock that down. I mean, we are the definition of top heavy.
And let's explain to people who don't exactly understand, because I'm one of them. I have a rudimentary understanding of cap rules. Restructuring a contract, is that you take their base salary and convert it to a signing bonus, and that changes what the cap hit is? I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that bonus is in the form of a lump sum. So what you do is you restructure the money on the back end, and they almost get a reward for money getting put up in the front end. So they get raw cash. Their contract gets bled out a little bit more, and then the restructured allocated years reshift the cap.
Okay. So I'm trying to think about this from the player's perspective. I don't think they really have a choice. I think they have to do this or their agent agrees to it, whatever. And it would be better. I would prefer to get a signing bonus than game checks. But
definitely.
But is there something about like motivating factor? Like you just get a check at the beginning of the season. They say, go play football. Or would you rather have guys like playing for their game checks?
Well, you got to look at it this way.
Does it matter?
It does. I mean, everybody's situation is different. I know one thing about ball players is that they want consistency. That's the biggest thing about the name of the game. You don't want a short contract. You want longer years, and you want those years to be backloaded. So for me, if I was in a position of playing and I got a restructured contract, it'd be dope because it's like you get a lump sum up front, and if you really like where you are, it's like, all right, I like where I am. I may take a little bit of a pay cut on the allocated years on the back end, but I do get more years. And there's nothing like having stability in the NFL and being under contract. So, there's many ways you can skin a cat,
Okay.
But go ahead.
I got another name for you. So we agree on Travarius Ward, Fred Warner. These are like two of the most solid players in their prime that you figure are going to be here for a while. You're not going to worry about them in any way. Another guy making a lot of money, right around the same age, 27, 28. This guy's 28. Deebo Samuel. Really expensive this year. He's a captain. He's part of the inner circle. If you want him around long term, he'd be a perfect guy to restructure. You could create 15 million in cap space, but you got to really want him around long term. Some people, I mean, he's kind of polarizing on that one.
Yeah, I mean, and polarizing is the word, because I don't think there's anybody that's coming at this in like a balanced approach where they're like, maybe let's see how he does this year. I pretty much the response on Deebo Samuel getting either moved, restructured, or something happened to this 28 million that he's due is either resounding support, where, you know, shame on you for even raising the inference, or it's get him out of here. You know, he shouldn't even be, you know, he ain't worth the shoes that he's wearing, you know. But, you know, for me, I kind of feel like it's up to Kyle as far as Deebo is concerned, because he is directly linked to his usage and his importance to what Kyle thinks he can do, right? I mean, we can look at him traditionally for a wide receiver, and we can obviously say that he's not lived up to the billing for what he's paid and what he's supposed to be in this offense. However, his usage rate for what Kyle needs is always going to be the determining factor on whether or not he makes that money. The truth of the matter is this: once the turd gets bigger than the cat, it's time to get rid of the cat. You know what I mean? So it's like, we'll see how long Deebo we can put up with the stuff that we've seen Deebo do and what his worth is, if it's worthy enough for him to be here to get paid. But we've been talking about it. We all, it's obvious that he should be the one that we restructure, but I really think they are going to pay him this money this year. I think they
28 million plus on the cap. I guess they can. It just seems like if you give him 28 million, if you don't restructure his contract, what does that say? Then they kind of want to keep the option open of trading him next year. So you're going to pay extra to keep your options open. It seems to me either trade him now or restructure him. Keeping him at 28 million is really expensive for a guy who is no longer the number one option in your offense. He was paid to be the number one option in your offense, but he's not.
Also, there is something. Sorry about that. There's also something to be said about what happened this year. All right, so we went to the Super Bowl, great year. We didn't get what we wanted, right? But one thing that we do have to start realizing about these contracts is that we were remarkably healthy this year.
Yep,
we were like one of the top 5 teams. Christian McCaffrey didn't miss a game. Like, who would have called
Purdy.
that? You know what I'm saying? Purdy didn't get hurt. Guys, I mean, we had guys fall off, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But as far as injuries are concerned, we had most of our guys all year. Yep. I mean, I don't know if you can count on that every year. You know what I'm saying? And again, we just played 60 games in 3 years.
Yeah.
So
older team. It's the Niners. Okay. So that's anyone else you want to talk about? I think that's good for the restructures, I guess. Yeah, that's good for me. Let's talk coaching staff. The Niners, what did they do on defense? So much. They fired Steve Wilkes. They promoted Nick Sorensen. They hired Brandon Staley. They hired KJ Wright. All these things to really fortify a defense that gave up 17.5 points per game. Offense, offense was great last year too. Wasn't great in the playoffs, except for the second half of the NFC Championship game. And they lost their pass game coordinator this offseason. Clint Kubiak is now the offensive coordinator for the Saints. And the Niners haven't replaced him. It's been like a month, about, not quite, 3-4 weeks. I'm sure Kyle could do it himself. But historically, he's had a pass game coordinator. In the past, it was Bobby Slowick, who's now the offensive coordinator with the Houston Texans. I think this is important. Kyle needs to be doing more delegating. I think this job matters, and I'm not saying he's not going to hire one, but I'm curious to see what direction he goes. What are you thinking?
Well, there's also there's reports of a candidate in-house that actually got an offensive coordinator interview by the Patriots earlier this year, and Brian Fleury. He's our tight ends coach right now. Yeah. He's been with the Niners for 3 years, started out as defensive quality control, switched right over in his second year to offensive quality control. And since 2022, he's been the present tight ends coach. Now, it seems like a guy that his entire career, he has been on the defensive side of the ball. He got into the offensive side of the ball only 4 years ago. So I don't know if he's ready for that role. Brian Greasy is still in house. But right now, I think the biggest factor is that it's kind of been swept under the rug that there really haven't been any candidates as far as outside hires are concerned. And this is a point that I'm pretty much going to take from you. I'm sorry, but all of the inside hires, all of the inside hires are basically going to be having a dual responsibility. That's the thing about this hire is that if you get Brian Fleury in, is he going to be the tight ends coach and the pass game coordinator? If you do that to Brian Greasy, is that going to happen to him as well? So right now, you're kind of looking at a log jam again on offense with workload. So you have to ask yourself, is this kind of plausible deniability that, this never gets talked about? We kind of get down the line into the season. It's like, well, Kyle himself had to write all of the pass game coordination for the entire season. And that's one of the reasons why he really couldn't focus this year. So we got to get a pass game coordinator. That's really what we have to do. So it's a hole. It needs to get filled, and it's not really being talked about.
Yeah, I mean, their run game coordinator is Chris Forrester. They could promote Brian Fleury. Like you said, they need to find a tight end coach, but I mean, I think you could probably find a tight end coach. And they seem like they've kind of been grooming him for this moment. He's been on the team since 2019, and he's taken sort of like the Kyle Shanahan boot camp course to becoming a coordinator. He started off as defensive quality control coach, 2019. Over to offensive quality control coach for 2 years. And now he's been a position coach for 2 years. And what's cool about a tight end position coach, if you think about it, tight ends are sort of involved in everything. They're in the line, they do they're blocking, they're running routes, they're part of the route combinations, they're involved in the pass game, the run game. So he does have sort of a good background to take the next step and be, if not an offensive coordinator, a pass game coordinator. That'd be a good, seems like a good promotion. What about bringing in someone from the outside, though?
I was just about to ask you this. What do you think Brian Greasy is ready to take that job if he was? Like, this is Brian Greasy's third? This will be his third year coaching period, right?
No, I don't think he is, because to me, I think when the Niners want to groom someone as a coordinator, they do the whole quality control thing, and then this Greasy.
So he's not on track.
I don't think so.
You think he's more of a specialist then?
Hey, but he has his whole playing background, so maybe they feel that Brian Greasy actually could call. He didn't have to call plays. That he actually could game plan these things, even though he does
have his hands on Brock. That's what I'm saying. Like they may do it. He's been intricate in developing Brock. It seems like it fits hand in glove. Brian Greasy may be the dark horse, honestly.
True. Okay, but from the other perspective, do you want to take him away from Brock? Maybe he's a great quarterback coach for Brock, caddy for Brock. Maybe he needs to be someone in Brock's ear every day. I don't know. Clay Kubiak's an assistant. They do have two quarterback coaches. Clint Kubiak's little brother is the assistant quarterback coach.
Really?
He's also, Greg Kubiak. What's the guy's name? Greg Kubiak?
Great. Gary Kubiak.
Gary Kubiak, the other G name. Gary Kubiak. Yeah, son. Mm-hmm. So maybe he could do it, although I think he's 31, 2, something like that.
They got a whole little Mormon temple over there. Everybody's in there. It's like everybody's related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to go have some fun with this, though. They bring in someone from the outside?
All right. What are you thinking?
Bring in Mike Martz.
Mike Martz?
He's a big Trey Lance fan. Remember that?
Bringing in Mike Martz will be really dope, but then you have to, I don't think he's from the tree. Hold on, wait a minute. That's something you have to also look at too. Who do we know in the Shanahan system, universe, if you will, that's kind of dangling out there, that's out there right now that could get hired? Like somebody that got fired from like the Jets or the Vikings or the Dolphins or Houston.
Let's think outside the box here. Look at what the
because they don't
Chargers
think outside the box.
I like to. Look what the Chargers did with Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh brought in Mark Trestman as like a senior offensive assistant. Guy was just hanging around. He's been around for a long time. He's a really good coach. Mm-hmm. Guys like that out there. I mean, I know Mike Holmgren's like been retired, but I don't know. Trestman would have been good.
Yeah, Trestman.
It's more about, do you know his system? I don't think Kubiak kind of does. They brought in Kubiak.
That's the thing. And that's the thing. We can just like, okay, so let's look at the defensive coordinator search, right? We kind of lived that whole thing through. it was nice to talk about all of the outside hires. It was cool to say, oh, what can we do? But I kind of feel like the same way about offense, that we're not looking at the offensive side of our team like we'll be looking at defense.
Right.
Are they really going to get rid of Chris Forster? Right? Are they really going to, like, it's like, if you bring it, like, who's going to come in and be the pass game coordinator for a team where all they're doing is literally putting in concepts. You live and die with whatever Kyle wants to do, and you have to come in and immediately learn the scheme. I think that even that job description right now is for like an internal guy that already knows the scheme, because it's really up to what Kyle wants anyway. So it's not like you're going to be sending up innovative stuff to Kyle that's completely outside the scheme, and he's going to be like, you know what, we should really rep this out, try this out. Like, no, he's going to get a guy that knows the scheme.
I would think he would. I think it's going to be Brian Fleury. It makes the most sense. I'm curious why they haven't. He's taking his time with this stuff. So what is Kyle trying to figure out? When I promote him? No, maybe he's looking at people. Let's give him credit. Maybe he's looking for people outside the organization. Clint Kubiak was outside the organization. Maybe he brings in someone else. Really,
was he though?
I would be impressed if he brought in someone else from outside the organization, because to me, that's like you should be delegating. You should have an offensive coordinator.
I think for the pace of getting what we want as Niners fans and observers, media, we need to be happy with Kyle, kind of going outside the box with Brandon Staley. Yeah. Like, he gave us a ripple. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's going to be, it's a little too much. Crawl before you walk.
All right, let's check out BetUS, sponsoring today's show, where they think particular quarterbacks are going to end up. I love these kind of lines. So let's see what the odd makers think the Falcons quarterback's going to be. Kirk Cousins minus 250. Any rookie quarterback plus 200, and then Justin Fields after that. What do you think of that top three?
I don't think they're going to go for a rookie right there, but I do like Justin Fields. I don't see Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta.
Why is Kirk Cousins why is that such a marriage that people expect to happen?
Kirk Cousins to Atlanta?
Yes.
I don't understand it at all. Like, okay, so if I'm going through connection, the last connection that I know from Raheem Morris to Kirk Cousins is 2012. Raheem Morris was on that Washington staff when Kirk Cousins got drafted. So he was there for that whole Kirk Cousins, RG3.
Got it.
So
makes sense.
He's seen Kirk
That
Cousins.
makes sense. There it is. It is. I just thought it was Atlanta, like kind of like mediocre. Statuesque.
That's like the best I can think of, like why that's even a thing.
Okay. Oh, hold on.
Welcome back.
Again. Sorry about that. So when you get signed out, you can just click on football, and then you go down to starting quarterbacks. Boom, we're back. Okay. Denver Broncos, Jared Stidham plus 200, any rookie quarterback plus 225, Sam Howell. Man, they're going to be great next year. Can't wait.
The Broncos are going to be so good. Ugh. They're going to be fire. I'd go with any rookie quarterback. Yeah, I'm going to go with any rookie quarterback. Sean Payton, it's like they just switched masters over there. They dumped Russ just to follow Sean. And it's like, who's your guy? It's going to be, it's a very odd situation up there.
I can see Sean Payton be the kind of guy who would sit his rookie quarterback and start Jared Stidham just for a while.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Raiders, Aiden O'Connell plus 110, any rookie quarterback plus 225.
Any rookie quarterback for sure.
Any rookie quarterback. Minnesota Vikings. This is interesting. Justin Fields plus 400. Trey Lance plus 400. Joshua Dobbs plus 400. Any rookie quarterback plus 500. Interesting.
Damn, you're tugging at my heartstrings right now.
Trey Lance actually could be his spot. He's from there. Apparently they had him high on their draft board.
They tried to get in on is it true that they tried to get in on on trading for him before Dallas could?
I don't know.
Excuse me.
I want to make that bet. Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson minus 200. Heavy favorite. I could see him going there. They were 10-7 without him. They might be able to win like 11 or 12 with him.
I think he would go there. You know what I'm saying? I could see Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh and them actually loving him too.
All right, I'm gonna lock this in. Trey Lance plus 400. Put $10 on it. I got 10 on it.
I got 10 on it.
Why is it thinking about it?
And do it. I got 10 on it.
Brother, let's go have fun on a bed slip. What is going on, man? Trying to make I need to make this wager. It's hating on me. Well, I'll make it later. Just so you know, I'm putting $10 down on Trey Lance starting week 1 for the Vikings. All right. One thing you may not have noticed, nowhere on those lists was Sam Darnold's name. You can't wager on him starting week 1 for anyone, not plus 3,000, 5,000, nothing. So I don't know, maybe some team is going to make Sam Darnold's dreams come true, but more likely he'll be hanging around in the free agent market. Do you think he's coming back? And if so, should we throw a parade?
No and no. Like, I don't think he's coming back because I think he's actually going to garner more money on the open market than what we can pay him. That's 1. 2, he did have some time on the field. And one thing that I will say is that for what he didn't do, it does does wonders for a quarterback to kind of fall off of the space for a while and be on a really good team and kind of have coaches and everything buzzing around you when you're trying to get to a new team, right? If Sam is on the market, the questions are going to be, well, how was he in practice? I mean, what kind of practice players was Sam? Did he really fix his mechanics? Like, how's his decision making? Somebody's going to take a filter on him and actually get him in not a bad situation, but maybe a bad team in a situation where they can get him on the field. And he might be the next guy. I mean, honestly, I could see Sam being the next second string cornerback looming over a rookie who a team doesn't really have confidence in. And they're like, well, we got Sam. So I kind of feel like that's his role. He can kind of rinse and repeat, in my opinion, but not here, not for that money. I think we paid him without knowing exactly what we're going to get out of Brock. Had we known what type of season Brock was going to have this year, Sam Darnold's not here. Like, all of the signing him on the first day of free agency, giving him contingencies with money up front, like making sure that he feels like a starter, taking him to the courtside games. Like, none of that crap is happening anymore.
Good point. That's a great point. So now that Darnold sees that Brock Purdy's fully entrenched, healthy, MVP candidate, yada, 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 maybe he'd rather, if he still wants to play, maybe he goes somewhere else. Also, I think the allure with Darnold for another team isn't necessarily what he showed on the field last year, because he didn't show much. He didn't play that much, but like the fact that he may know this system. Mm-hmm. So teams that run versions of it may see, hey, we'll take Darnold as a backup quarterback.
That's a very good point.
Rams. But that'd be like, to me, last year when he lost to Carson Wentz, Wentz is better than Darnold. No disrespect to Darnold. I don't understand why any team would sign Darnold before Wentz, who's also a free agent.
Okay, yeah, but it is 1 of 1. But the point that you just made, I really feel like does stick. Like, there are sects, if you will, of like
the Rams.
Dolphins. There are like sects of like the scheme where he's going to be more desirable to Miami, the Jets, the Rams, Atlanta, Minnesota, Green Bay. Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Cleveland. So it's kind of like he kind of got himself into like the club now. Like he can circulate now. People will be like, oh, well,
it's like he just learned JavaScript. It's like, I actually I'm pretty hireable,
I know how to code now. So I'm actually I've optimized my skill set actually, so
that's exactly what he did. I went to a boot camp. I went to the Kyle Shanahan boot camp. I learned the scheme, and now I'm pretty good at it.
Kind of diversified, and now I'm desirable across my skill set. It's kind of what you got to do. You take 2 steps back to take 4 steps forward. I don't know what to tell you. It's professional development. Everybody's got to learn how to be a professional at one moment or another, and Kyle Shanahan's system did wonders for me. All right. 10 easy installments of $99.95. They set you up. You sit back, you It's an amazing program, class personified.
You sound like the dude in those skits in the College Dropout.
Yeah.
Is DJ Jones coming back to this team?
We can't afford him. I would love to. I would love to bring
He
him
could.
back. Right?
He's still under contract with the Broncos. They could cut him. He would be so perfect because they need more than a backup. More than a backup. More than a backup. More than a backup. They need more.
Yeah, I know. Like, bro, you be getting me going, bro. You better chill out, son. So, but I don't think they need more than that. I mean, right now, if DJ Jones if we were to pull the trigger and bring DJ Jones over here, he would have to be a starter for the money that he was getting paid. And then you have to say, all right, well, is Eric Armstead going to be the one to go? We just picked up Javon Hargraves, which he's underplaying his contract. It's like facts, but you can't move him this quickly. The dead cap money is abysmal. So bringing over DJ Jones would really be bringing over like the world's most expensive donut. Like, it's just like it's a fifth wheel. You know what I mean? So I don't think it'll work.
As good as your other wheel.
Yeah. So, it's cool, but, it's not something that's practical, especially for a team like ours, because, again, something has to shake with the top 15 players on this team. Something's got to shake because they're all paid a lot of money.
If the Niners could bring back anyone who used to be on the team, I mean, DJ Jones at D tackle. They could bring back Trent Brown. They could bring back Kendrick Bourne. They could bring back, I'm trying to think of all Aziz. Emmanuel Mosley got re-signed. Did he not?
I think he got re-signed by the Lions. I think he did.
But I mean, of all of them, I feel
like K1 out there?
The Niners, I feel like, need DJ Jones the most. He would fill such a big need for them. I mean, that's basically the Javon Kinlaw spot.
Yeah, I mean, they priced him out. They should have paid him before he left, but they tried to keep other players. My biggest thing for DJ Jones is that he is one of the. If there's a lot of players that we look at what Coach Kasarik has done for those players, I would say DJ Jones is one of the biggest, like, rags to riches stories about a player who completely turned his career around, basically following what Coach Kasarik was telling him to do. The biggest jump that he had was the year that we lost him. So I'll tell you right now, like, if we did bring in DJ Jones, I mean, post June 1, do we cut Eric Armstead?
Now you're talking. But if you do that, then you'd have to draft another defensive tackle. But yeah, I mean, think about cutting. Yeah, maybe you do that.
Yeah, somebody just asked about what about Charles Omenihu? He tore his ACL. Yeah,
I'd say no. I got one. How about this? Niners going to need a quarterback if Darnold leaves.
Okay,
and then if they could trade like a 4th or 5th round pick for Trey Lance. Sorry, but I mean, he knows the system. They loved him. They said they loved him. Didn't they? They said that.
Bro,
it really hurt him.
There's no way, bro. There's no way that we're getting him ever again. It's over, bro.
Let it go.
Let it go. Nah, but Trey Lance will never come back here. Yeah, he'll come back for a game or something, but he'll never be on the sidelines. They do need to get another quarterback. There's a possibility, and I think you brought this up as well, but there is a possibility that they could go draft later in the rounds and get a guy who they think they can that can replicate what they need. And if you look at it, Sam Darnold, Jimmy Garoppolo, like, it's not the fact that Kyle doesn't want, like, it's not in my opinion, now that he's been here long enough, it's not that Kyle doesn't want athletic quarterbacks, but he just wants, like, the most balanced quarterback of all time with, like, ridiculous processing. So the biggest thing about that is we have to ask ourselves, if we do draft another quarterback, which is the storyline is going to be nothing compared to what we went through with Brock or Trey. I think the sneaking question is, can we develop? Have we developed a quarterback under Kyle Shanahan? Have we? Was Brock already developed and ready to go? Or did Brock come in with clear deficiencies and the program of the 49ers got him ready to play and he's a homegrown product? Or did Brock play 5 years?
That one. Because it's like, look at Jimmy. Look at Trey. Look at Darnold. Did any of them improve on the 49ers?
No.
No. Did
Jimmy
Brock
got
improve
better
on
when the
49ers?
team got better.
Right. I could even say that Brock has improved on the Niners. He hit the ground running at a very, very high level.
Yes, he did.
Instantly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
like that. But again, that's why I'm sold on Brock as the starter, because we got like a really like weird element, where you really don't get time to kind of grow into anything unless like, there was a high draft pick on you. But outside of that, if you can't provide worth immediately, then you're pretty much gone on this team. And they did it to the number 3 overall pick. So they'll do it to anybody. And the fact that Brock has been able to survive that, I mean, that shows special traits.
Juan Carlos Montano says, "What up, Grant? Just started watching you this year, and I never miss a stream or video. Love your takes. Stay real." Thank you, Juan Carlos. Appreciate it. Jay Garza, let BA number 11 play out his contract next year and then franchise him or sign him long-term next year after dumping Debo, good or bad. Should have done that with Debo in retrospect. Thank you. You two are great. Debo was a second-round pick. There wasn't this fifth-year option, but I see what you're saying. Let's explore this. What's the worst that could happen? Brandon and you could get upset, and you could sort of sour the relationship. But he's not going to sit out. He's going to play.
He will play.
He'll play.
I mean, he's not a malcontent, so he will play. The only thing about it is that, just the disrespect. Listen, man, they're chirping over there in Ayuk land. Right, in the Ayuk manner, and what they're saying is that they feel a little unappreciated, right? Yeah. They feel like they're not necessarily being put in the position that they need to be on this team to be felt like they're being considered. And I just think pulling that move is all but this is his swan song. This is the last year he's auditioning for his next team, and that's what that would be. Full stop. Like, wait a minute. So you really are that confident to let me go on the open market, and then you're going to play hardball with me? And then on top of it, don't let him have a worse season that he had the year before. He's obviously going to be like, oh, so now you tank my value and my production before I walk out the door, so you can try to at least make sure that you keep a glass ceiling on what I should be paid. It's like, it could get bad.
It's not really how they've done business. I mean, the people that they've let play out their fifth-year options are people that they are players who sort of knew they had to. McGlinchey, you played out your fifth-year option. I mean, he wasn't upset he didn't get an extension. Like, you knew you needed to do that. Ayuk is a second-team All-Pro. I don't think the Niners want to be that kind of a team. They're a player-friendly team. So if they know that they just have irreconcilable differences, they'll trade him before the draft. But I don't know. I mean, they worked it out with Debo. It was very difficult and awkward and contentious with Debo, and they worked it out.
I think BA is a different kid. I don't think he'll lash out, and he said enough, right? You know what I'm saying? He sneak disses. That's his thing. That's his mode. But I don't think he'll be like overt. You know what I'm saying? Like unfollowing the team and all of that type of stuff. I don't think he'd do that.
Can we say real quick with Debo? Have you noticed when you talk about trading Debo, large segment of the fan base likes the idea? Is that because Debo requested a trade, he didn't want to play for the Niners anymore, took all the Niners stuff off his Instagram? Like, people don't forget that.
No.
Is it easier to sort of 2 years down the line be like, you know what, let's make a business decision with him?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of these guys are expendable, right? Yeah. So the thing about it is,
right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like there's a, let me put it like this. There's a romance. There's a romance between the players and the fans. And it's like, you have one time to tell me that you don't love me anymore.
Right.
And even if we argue about it and come back, I will always remember the time where you looked me dead in my face and told me you don't love me anymore. So,
so when it's kind of like $15 million in cap space, I can say, hey man, Debo would be a great option. Nothing personal.
Yeah, you've opened that door, and I've already been on that side of you. So, hey, if you go, you go. That you gotta be careful playing around with that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, people optically seeing you unfollow the team, like that does things to people. It's like, oh, word. So this is how you feel. I don't agree. I didn't agree with it when he did it then.
Right. And no matter how George Kittle or Nick Bosa or Fred Warner privately feel about their experiences dealing financially with the Niners with their negotiations. Like they haven't made it public, and that way the fantasy still exists between the fans and them. Niners for life. You know?
Yeah, Niners for life.
Niners for life. Bang bang. You know what I'm saying?
Together. Niners for life.
pretty much. Fish and Chip says, can we count on healthy content creators each year? Man, I don't even know if we're going to be here tomorrow. To quote Kyle.
Can we count on healthy content creators each year? Yeah. I mean, if they want to.
Dennis McCrae says, fire Kyle now. Now?
No.
In early March?
No.
Silky Smooth Smithers says, trade Kyle and Debo for Dan Campbell and St. Brown. That's what I'm saying. When people say Kyle's the best coach ever, if you gave Dan Campbell this roster, would he not win the Super Bowl? Would he have kicked a field goal at the 9-yard line?
I don't know. Not Dan Campbell. Not Dan Campbell. That's kind of rich to be talking about the guy who coached himself out of the game that we beat him in. So that's a little. The irony is a little too much. It's not true. Dan Campbell.
You know, he would say that Josh Reynolds just could catch the ball. He'd be in there. Who's going to win a Super Bowl first, Kyle Shanahan or Dan Campbell? Or neither? Neither one will win. They'll both win 1 second.
I mean, they're both on the NFC, so neither of them will win.
Okay. Dennis McCrae. Come on, Grant. Need you to push the Mike Holmgren agenda. Okay. How old is Mike Holmgren?
You know another thing? People don't really talk
75.
about like, there's no way. But he is a son of 49ers, bro. Like, he was an OC here. You know, he had some really good years here. Like, Mike Holmgren is he's an Andy Reid disciple. I mean, no, he's an Andy Reid.
A Mike Holmgren disciple. He was at BYU, like Andy Reid. He went to the Niners in '86 as a quarterback coach. Was their OC when Walsh left. Went to Green Bay, won a Super Bowl. Went to the Seahawks, lost a Super Bowl. I mean, he had some bad years with the Browns in like 10, 15 years ago as a team president. But so I think he's probably done. But yeah, he was great.
He's 75.
Is he not a Hall of Famer?
He should be. Look it up. Is he?
I don't think he is.
Mike Holmgren.
He's in the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, but he's not in the NFL Hall of Fame.
That's crazy.
Anyway, Troy M. Donation for coaches, caffeine, face scrub, and cocoa butter regimen.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Troy.
Corey Soto says, if Lance goes to Minnesota to be the starter, I'd be more excited to watch that than the Niners this season. That's how badly I need the closure we never got. That's
you know what? Though. That's Lance is real.
Niner fans gonna be watching that.
There is nobody like if you ever notice, like how like on Twitter, like if you put a tweet out, you'll get way more impressions than you will actual likes, right? It just proves that people watch you way more than they confirm. You know, they actually confirm whether or not they follow you or not. I'm gonna tell you right now. Niners fans will be hands down the biggest shadow watchers of Trey Lance if he starts in Minnesota. Everybody will be watching literally every game of the season.
The haters, the boosters,
all of them. The people who say they don't care. I don't care that he's playing. You do. You want to see what he does. Actually,
and they're going to be talking about him on the Niners shows on YouTube too. The content creators. Hey, it doesn't matter anymore. But did you notice? And I will.
Yeah. No. This is how they'll talk about it. They'll talk about it this way. For all of the people bringing up Trey Lance, they need to stop bringing it up. I mean, he only threw for this many times, ran for this many times. I mean,
I don't want to talk about Trey Lance and the fact that these were his stats and this is what he did and hear my thought. I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it. And you shouldn't listen to anybody else who does it while we talk about it right now for an hour.
There you go. Corey Soto says Kashinin knows what he wants in a quarterback, but not what he needs. That's deep. One better than him. You know, Kyle cuts and pastes his head on every quarterback he's had. It's in his locker. Yeah. Fish and Chips. Coach, your little Shanny impression needs work.
Oh, I got you.
A few minutes ago, we were talking about Brock Purdy. One way to think about Brock, how good is he really, is he's only 24 years old. How does he compare to the quarterbacks in this draft? Like, I don't think Brock Purdy would be necessarily seen as a top 5 pick, but compared to these other first round picks, let's compare him to JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
JJ McCarthy. just won the national championship with Jim Harbaugh. He's got a live arm. He's kind of athletic. He's a little bit bigger than Brock. Do you think he'd be more appealing to NFL teams right now on the open market than Brock?
No. I'd take Brock Purdy over JJ McCarthy right now. JJ McCarthy has a small sample size in college, and he played with like a really loaded roster. Now, I understand that in some ways you could look at Brock Purdy and say, well, Brock Purdy's playing with a loaded roster. Yeah, well, Brock Purdy's also playing against other NFL teams as well. Yeah. So I just feel like I don't want to squash like what I feel about him as a prospect. But in this debate, I feel like it's a no-brainer for you to look at like a rookie, young upstart guy coming in, big arm, but he's not accurate. When he pushes the ball out, it lofts, he overthrows targets. He often has times with accuracy issues. And one of the biggest things that I see in him is that when he does get pressured, he's wildly inaccurate and he bails athletically. Now, we have to say, I understand taking off in college is one thing, but let's see what taking off in the NFL does for JJ McCarthy down the line in his career. I mean, one aspect of Brock's career is that he has shown the ability to not only be mobile, get downfield, create plays outside of the pocket when things break down, but the biggest thing of all is protect himself, right? You know, with the elbow injury notwithstanding, like Brock has done an amazing job at keeping himself upright as much as that he can. And I feel like we are kind of keeping the debate in like the cellar. Let's bring it up to the main floor. Brock and this kid processing is two universes away. Like as far as being able to move through an offense, Brock is asked to do way more than a quarterback like JJ McCarthy is asked to traverse through on his offense. So no, I think right now, if you looked at all of the quarterbacks that are out right now, you would look at Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, and JJ McCarthy coming in. I would probably take Caleb Williams
and Jaden
Daniels.
Those two. And that's the first pick in the draft and maybe the second pick in the draft or the fifth pick in the draft. What's interesting, I'm looking at CBS. They have JJ McCarthy as the 18th best prospect in the draft, regardless of position. 18. This dude with his 700 throws at Michigan. So if that's where he would go, then to me, Brock Purdy has got to be above that. He's worth a top 15 pick in the draft right now. If the Niners wanted to trade him, which they don't, of course. But if they wanted to, he'd have to be worth the top 15 pick in this draft.
Yeah. Like could Jaden Daniels have came in and taken us to the Super Bowl or came in and won 8 straight games with us? I mean, Jaden Daniels at Arizona, Jaden Daniels had to transfer just to get to LSU to come on, and he's only given us 1 year. I mean, Caleb Williams, he plays at USC, and to be quite frank with you, I don't get it. I know that's a hot take, man, but I don't get it with Caleb Williams. I really don't. And Drake May is solid. He's really good. It's somebody who has a lot of upside, but that's somebody who I would take over Brock. But then again, you still don't know what you get from the neck up, from the processing standpoint, right? Because
then it's not just processing with Brock too. I think one of the things that people didn't understand is how mature and ready for the pressure of being the Niners quarterback he was. Like he stepped in right away, told George Kittle to shut the hell up, and it's my huddle. I mean, I don't know JJ McCarthy that well, but I did watch the national championship, and they made a big deal about how he had his therapist on the sideline with him. You saw that?
Yeah, he does like yoga and all of this like really like mental health, higher learning stuff. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
I'm sorry.
I understand that they virtue signal that in the NFL because it's good for optics and marketing, but there is really no place for that in the NFL.
No,
honestly,
you can't have your therapist on the sideline with you in an NFL game. I mean, nothing wrong with going to therapy, but like you can't have mental health checkups mid-game.
You cannot have somebody talking you through situational stuff during the game.
No, that is not Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy doesn't need little check-ins. Absolutely not.
Quite frankly, that's one of the reasons why Trey is not here. It's because there were a lot of mental obstacles that he had to get through. So no, you can't bring in like your preferred.
And nothing against JJ. Crutch. Like when I watched that, what I felt was, oh, he's young. Look, he's still a kid. You know, he's playing in the in the national championship. A lot of pressure. God love him, but man, look at eating alive in the NFL doing stuff like that. And what's cool about Brock is how ready he was. I don't look at JJ McCarthy checking in like that mid-game, pre-game, thinking, oh, yeah, he's just put him on the Niners. He'd be just as good as Brock. You have a mental breakdown.
Yeah. Yeah, especially dealing with Kyle.
Look at Jake Moody. I mean, Jake Moody went to the same school, dealt with the same pressure. Came to the Niners. The Niners thought he was ready, too, man. Michigan plays in some big games. Uh-huh.
I remember that. I remember that. Like,
yeah, they sure
Jake
do.
has played in some huge games. He'll be ready.
He knows what it's like.
Dash.
He played for Jim Harbaugh. Uh-huh. Yeah, so did JJ McCarthy. I don't know. So that to me is interesting. They got JJ McCarthy as the 18th pick in the draft, potentially. Well, then Brock Purdy should be looked at as more than just a system quarterback. I mean, I think he'd be better on most teams than JJ. I haven't watched every Michigan game. Maybe some Michigan fans here disagree, but what I saw was a guy who was not accurate. He was
He's not accurate at all.
He's not.
No, he's not accurate. Great athlete. He's a great looking kid. Great athlete. You could tell that there's a lot of professional football hands that have been on him. He looks the part, right? Has his mechanics down, but as far as when it comes down to like the goods, like the raw playing, he's disjointed. It's not smooth.
Jive Turkey says, my mom works with Ayuk's dad. His parents moved back to Georgia where they're from, but Niners are Ayuk's favorite team. Hard to say. I don't think they're from Georgia. Are they?
I don't know. I thought they're from out where you at. I thought they're from like Arizona and California.
Nevada.
Or no, like Nevada. Aren't they from like Nevada?
Reno. Todd Tran says the Niners haven't won because they F up first round
picks. Well, there have been some bad first round picks that just kind of, the Solomon Thomas, it's kind of bad. Kind of bad. Mike McGlinchey, kind of bad. We really don't talk about Javon Kinlaw.
Drafted Trey Lance in the first round 3 years in a row.
Trey Lance, 3 years in a row.
He's not even on the team anymore. Well, they could bring him back. Javier Sierra says, pick one NFC and AFC team that will be in the playoffs that will surprise you or you think will be there. Okay. Like a worst to first team? Let's pick a worst to first team.
All right.
Let's pick a worst to first.
NFC, worst to first. I'll go Washington Commanders.
Okay.
AFC, worst to first. I'll go New England Patriots.
Ooh, first in that division? Cincinnati, but everyone knows when Joe Burrow comes back, they're going to be good. Tennessee. The Chargers is a worst to first team. That's
a really good worst to first team.
Yep. Commanders. Chicago.
Over Kansas City, though? No. You think the Chargers would be worst to first over KC?
Not particularly, no. I mean, Carolina could do it just because that division's terrible, but they're extra terrible. Arizona's not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
Oh, no, Chicago ain't going to do it. I think I took them from you because Commanders are viable. Dallas could do anything, and then the Eagles could fall off a cliff, and the Giants are always the Giants.
What about Pittsburgh if they get Russell Wilson?
Oh, that would be dope.
But the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy.
Yeah, I like that. The Jets, if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, right? Because the Bills, they don't really have anything outside.
We're not picking anyone like the Giants or anything crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm not picking the Giants. No, not it. I mean, Atlanta's wasn't the worst in that division, were they? Wasn't it Carolina?
True. If they get Kirk Cousins, that could be pretty good.
They really could.
Jay Garza says Niners sins catch up with them. Big roster, draft errors, 2 expensive stars causing no depth and injury. 7-10 Super Bowl hangover. I mean, that's a perfectly reasonable and cynical prediction, but maybe realistic. All right, let's go out on a game. It's called
Let's go, dude.
What's the bigger need?
What's the bigger need?
Go through a few options here. It's kind of like when we do sleeper picks, more than or less than. Let's make some picks. What's the bigger need?
Let's make some picks, man.
Defensive end or defensive tackle?
Defensive tackle.
Why?
I feel like there's a lot of defensive ends laying around, and we already proved that we can do it. We did it 3 times in the season. We got Chase Young, Randy Gregory, and Sebastian Joseph Day, even though he was an interior guy. The reason why we need a defensive tackle is because we can't stop the run. All right.
Yeah.
And Javon Hargrave is making a lot of money, but he can't stop the run either. And we need somebody to actually have a consistent pass rush up the middle of the field to be able to utilize the best part of our defense, with my opinion, which is our linebacking core. So I would take a defensive tackle. And, like I said, edges are kind of like,
a dime a dozen.
Yeah, they're like exotic cars in Miami. Like everybody can go down there and just spend $500 and ride around for a week on them. Yeah, you can just rent one.
It's a great point. Oh, look at that guy in that green Lambo. Yeah.
Oh my God, that Cullinan is nice. It's like, yeah, you rented that. It's cool. He's not, you know what I'm saying? It's got a little 2-week vacay. He spent a couple of $1,000. Good point. That's how I look at pass rushers.
I like that, but they need like a real D tackle who could be here for a while, to replace Kinlaw, to replace Armstead, to fill in and stop the run. DJ Jones would be perfect. Thing about D end,
we can't afford him, Grant.
They're expensive.
Yeah,
they're expensive, and they do have Drake Jackson who can bench 315 like 3 times. That was a bad sign. That was a bad sign. Oh man. So yeah, probably not Drake Jackson.
He was so proud, bro.
Yeah. All the sports writers were like, I can't do that at all. That sounds like a lie.
That's remarkable. So I mean,
okay. They can get a defensive end. Getting a defensive tackle will be tricky. They're not going to probably get one in round 1. So round 2, round 3, they got to get a defensive tackle who might be able to start some games as a rookie. Okay.
Well,
what's the bigger?
I'm sorry.
Go
this
ahead.
draft, they have to replenish the depth of the defensive line, because they really got to hit on some late round guys defensive line wise, because not only are we not talented enough in that area for especially interior wise, but we're older. We need to get younger, right? So in the draft this year, I'm really looking for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they went and got like a guy they really believed in the first round. It's just our team. We can find a good tackle. I'll just see. I just know they just want to patch. But for the most part, in the later rounds, they do need to beef up the defensive line. But that is the question. We've got 11 picks. Do you think we're going to use all those picks?
No, I don't. But real quick, do you know how many defensive tackles are like actually under contract with the Niners and like on their 53-man roster?
3.
Armstead, Hargrave, and Khalil Davis. That's it. Kevin Givens, free agent. Kinlaw, free agent. Sebastian Joseph Day, free agent.
They
need a defensive tackle. They need a defensive tackle. The Niners, they still have Robert Beal and Drake Jackson, so I think they're pretty much good at D end. But D tackle, they need someone for sure. Let's move to another position. What's a bigger need? Offensive line? Hold on, let me set it up. What's a bigger need? Interior offensive line or offensive tackle?
Man, that's a hard one for me. Well, no, it's not. Offensive tackle.
Okay.
The reason why is because you can miss the forest through the trees when you're talking about right tackle. But what you said was offensive tackle, not right tackle.
True.
And if you're bringing in a tackle, not only are you bringing in somebody to elevate the right side, but we're also handling our Trent Williams question with when he finally leaves. So I understand, and I have been pushing for a center. I get it, but I only want a center if we're at 31. I really do believe that we should trade up and go get our next guy that we can swing over to Trent and actually play with Trent at the same time. So yeah, tackle is more important because it speaks to not only a actual position, but a future position as well.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is when I was in college, the Niners made a move. Well, I don't know if they made a move, but they drafted an offensive tackle late in the first round, and they played him at right tackle for 1 year. And we moved him to left tackle, and he was there for a very long time. And his name was Joe Staley. Hell of a player. Kids may not remember him. Number 74. Good guy. Kind of funny. Dry sense of humor. Anyway, 28th pick in the draft, 2007. It's a good spot. I don't know who's going to be there if they're going to get Joe Staley at 28 this year, but you're kind of looking for that. A guy you could play.
Amarius Mims, man. That's my guy. Yeah. Amarius Mims or JC Latham, either or, take your pick. I think those are guys that once you get them in at right tackle, they're going to automatically, our offense is going to change. I'm telling you, 6'7" and athletic, man. stuff gonna change, man. I'm telling you. We need to go ahead and write that.
Okay, what's a bigger need? Tight end or wide receiver?
Tight end. Our tight end group is really weak as far as depth. Some would even say youth. I know we just signed 2 rookies, but they don't look like they're ready to contribute right away. I mean, I've seen plays with Braden Willis on the field. He looks really good in his pads. Good. He struggles at blocking. I've seen it. So, I mean, obviously they have a lot of time to get better, and we don't know what he's going to be coming into camp. But outside of those pieces and Cameron Latu just being really non-existent since he just went through camp, we really haven't had a real number 2 tight end since like Brent Selleck. Like we haven't had anybody. We tried with Ross Dwelly. Chill out, Grant. We tried with Jordan Reed, right? We tried with Charlie Warner. We tried with what's the other guy that we scapegoated who hurt Brock Purdy, who got Brock Purdy hurt against the Philly? That guy, Tyler Croft. So yeah, so I believe that also, again, this also fits a dual need. We need a 2 tight end set. I feel like when Jordan Reed was here, for that short time that he was healthy, it was very interesting to have 2 tight ends on the field that were pass catchers that could actually have dual responsibility. That's something that I feel like we never really got back to. And if we could get another tight end, not only can we utilize what's left of George Kittle's prime, but usher in another tight end when it's time to move George. So I would say tight end over receiver. And also, receiver is a bigger need in the standpoint of just figuring out what we're going to do with it, not necessarily adding any more players, right? They're just expensive over there. So I would say tight end.
What's a bigger need? Linebacker or cornerback?
Cornerback. Obviously, we're going to need another outside corner. It's amazing that Demo found his home at the nickel position, right? But again, we brought in Logan Ryan. We brought him in as a safety, but we also brought in Jason Verrett. We've always had these older guys that have kind of been holding down the other side of the secondary. Now, I think we righted that wrong when E-Man was here back in 2022, right? When E-Man was here, but then he got hurt. But for that short time when E-Man was here and we had 2 true cornerbacks on the outside, we were a strong unit. We just really haven't found that guy in Samuel Womack, Ambry Thomas, maybe Darrell Luter Jr. is that guy. He fought off a lot of injuries throughout the season, and he started having an uptick in usage, especially in the playoffs. But right now, linebacker is more of a need for as far as just replacing Dre. I understand, and there's guys out there to do that. We got draft prospects. We've been really high on CJ Gray. We have free agent prospects. Azeez Al-Shaair is still out there, and we can afford him and make that happen. So I understand that there's viable options for that. But with corner, there's really no corner out there in the free agent market that we'd be able to take on and not have to pay big money, especially if a trade situation happens. So I feel like in-house, go ahead.
Keep going. No, I just was thinking of something.
In-house, I feel like we have requisite talent to see what we can have with the next guy standing up. My money is on Darrell Luter Jr., right?
Or what I was thinking was
like, in the draft.
Who drafted Darrell Luter Jr.? Who advocated for that? Was it Wilkes?
Wilkes.
And if it was, and Wilkes is gone, did he lose his advocate? Does Sorensen feel the same way? Are they going to want to bring in someone else? That could be it. Whenever there's a defensive coordinator change, there could be a change in the pecking order because now this guy's opinion of the players matters. So we don't really know what he thinks of Darrell Luter Jr. We know that Wilkes liked him.
Yeah, I like his size.
Up out of here.
That's true, but I like Darrell Luter Jr.'s size. I like his speed. I just don't think that he's had enough time to play. I really believe that he could find a spot on this team if he gets the reps, right? But we do have to see what he does, right? Because corner is a "what have you done for me lately" position. So one thing about Ambry is I don't think anything less than Ambry Thomas as far as a player is concerned, but Ambry lets us down in the biggest moments when the lights are bright, and that's his biggest issue. If we can get talent out of Darrell Luter Jr. where he can make himself like not a liability on the field, I think we're good. We'll see. There's in-house options for corner.
Okay, last one. What's the bigger need? Kick returner or kicker?
That's a good one. Kick returner for sure. All right, so we had a kicker. Full stop. Robbie Gould. We should have paid him, but we didn't. We went out and spent money on a kicker, i.e. a pick. All right. That's their job to work that out. Whatever. Either he makes it or he doesn't. That issue is pending. But when is the last time we've had a returner? I mean, when is the last time the Niners have had a returner that actually struck fear? Come on, man. That's the last time we had a real returner. Richie James Drew, Kyle Williams, Richie James Jr. Sorry, I called him Richie James Drew. I was thinking of Maurice James Drew.
I love that.
Yeah. But Richie James Jr., we tried BA back there. We tried Debo back there. We all, Ray just left. At times we tried to put who's the other corner that returned for us one time? I think it was Tyler Hawkins returned a couple of times.
Yeah.
We just don't have a dedicated guy. So we just don't have a lot of guys that can be viable returners for us with the 49ers right now. So, if you just look, we do need another returner. There's guys that have tried admirably, but they have failed in the pursuit. So
yeah, guys, people, guys, players.
Yeah.
Names escaping me at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what you were doing with that other 10 guy, but we need a returner, man.
Need a kicker too, but I agree. Okay.
All right, so you're ready. You think you want the kicker over the returner?
I mean, he's under contract. You have Jake. That's great. But
that's it.
He's consistent in that he misses kicks in the playoffs every time. I don't like that. I don't
give
feel
him another playoffs to screw up. Just give him
another Atlanta.
Playoffs. Nah, we spent the 3rd round pick on him though. Like you got to
Detroit. He played college out there. I think he'd feel better. Let the Lions have him.
One thing about bad kickers is that you're only mad. You're mad that they missed the kick, and really their response. They just seem so not in the moment. Yeah, they're just like, what happened? It's like you missed the kick. That's what happened.
You didn't do your job. Kev S says, was Lance a worse pick than Jamarcus? No. Jamarcus was not professional.
Stop. Yeah.
Dave Barclay says, how much I miss. Love you guys. The whole show. But we love you too. It was a good show, man. You should watch it. Jive Turkey says, parents from Georgia, high school in Reno. Okay. Good to know. Sacramento, college time, but parents retired in Georgia. Might make a difference for his contract. All right. This dude knows what he's talking about. Let's go back to earlier. What did he say? Jive Turkey. Boom. My mom works with Ike's dad.
Dynamite.
His parents moved back to Georgia where they are from, but Niners are Ike's mom's favorite team. That is true. I did with her. Hard to say. Well, I don't think he's going to do what his mom. I don't think his mom's going to be putting a lot of pressure on him.
Nah.
I think her favorite team is whatever team is paying her son.
How about it?
I would imagine. Silky Smooth Smithers says, off topic, who's singing at your wedding, MJ or Prince?
Prince.
Is that even a question?
What are we doing?
Come on. Slide 23 says Debo won't stand up to Fred like BA did. Sign BA. Dave Barclay says coach has been throwing facts since the Super Bowl.
I be throwing them things, boy. Thank you.
Fish and Chip says it's possible DBs fall off with no Wilkes.
Well, you know what? That is a
Bullets and Sorensen, but yeah.
Let me tell you this. I really love this comment because I'm going to be paying attention because Trevarius Ward said that Coach Wilkes really didn't do anything for his career. He said that. He said he really didn't help me out, that, Wilkes was cool, but I was all right without him. So we're going to see what the secondary does without Coach Wilkes.
Fish and Chip says we need a head coach on a rookie contract. Okay. Corey Soto says, y'all see that BA live that just came out? They asked Lance or Jimmy. He said, easy. I'll take Trey.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that was clear for years.
That's been clear.
Oh, well. All right, guys, I got to get to some work. This has been a great coaches meeting. One of the best. A lot of people watching. Man. Next time we talk, the Niners will have new players on the team. It'll be free agency mode. Looking forward to it.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. On a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me.
Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.